I'm Natalie Graham here for Rockefellas TV live and direct from B1 Studios, Birmingham. And I have to say, it is not only a privilege, but it is a huge honour to be joined by someone I think it's fair to say is absolute music royalty, and that is the legend himself, Mr. Jim Simpson. How are you, Jim?
Delighted to be here, and thank you for saying such kind things. I'm not sure I totally agree, but thank you.
I think there's many people out there that definitely would. Now, Jim, you are someone, for anyone out there who is a fan of, in particular, Black Sabbath, then you are the man behind the band from when they made their transition from Earth to Black Sabbath. You were very, very orchestral in terms of who they were and who they became. But obviously, since then, you are someone who is still very much involved in the music business and does what you do best here in Birmingham. And every year, for 42 years now, because it's the 42nd anniversary, 42 years that we're in now of the Jazz Festival. So just tell us a little bit more about why you decided to, I suppose not make the transition, but why you decided to create the Jazz Festival, and how important it is for you, the fact that 42 years later it's still going strong.
Well, it started a very long time ago, when I was 10 years old. My father was playing with Louis Armstrong and Fats Waller and all the old great jazz players. So I've always been a jazz fan since childhood. When I was 14, my mother took to see Big Bill Brunsey at Birmingham Town Hall, a Mississippi bluesman, and that lit the fire for me for blues. So I've always been a great fan of jazz and blues. And jazz is changing a lot in recent years. A lot of people who don't really understand jazz are claiming to be jazz acts, and a lot of the stuff they do is very academic and very serious, and it's supposed to be fun. So I decided to put on an event to draw attention to hot jazz. I definitely do not believe that entertainment is a dirty word. You want to entertain people and get them involved. So that's why, for instance, almost all our shows are free admission. I try to remove any barrier between a potential audience and the music. I got talked to, I put a concert on in 1964 at the Arena Theatre in Cannon Hill Park, and put, to my mind, the 8 hottest British jazz players. Humphrey Lyttelton was there and all the top players, and we had 850 people, made a recording, and we got Sunday Times Jazz Album of the Year. But the morning after in the hotel, I got taken aside by a man called Stephen Carter, who worked for Holiday Inn, another guy called Malcolm Powell, who looks after Richards and Butler's marketing, and Humphrey Lyttelton, who was the great big jazz name. And they said, you've got to do something bigger next year. Stephen said, I'll give you hotel rooms. Malcolm said, Richards and Butler's will fund it for you. And Humphrey said, I'll be your patron. So that started it. We put out all the big names in jazz back then. Miles Davis, B.B. King, Freddie King, Cab Calloway Orchestra. I could go on. The really biggest names that were around back then, we put them on. But those big names don't exist anymore. There are no real acts that could fill theatres in where they play proper jazz. So slowly we evolved and changed our style. We now take jazz into unusual places. For instance, in Sandwell, through Smithwick and West Brom, we put shows on every library, every museum, and every art gallery. Takes a new audience. People who don't go to pubs get involved with our music. We have shows in opticians and on the metro from Birmingham to Wolverhampton. We try to interfere with people's daily routines and say, hey, stop, listen, you might just like this. And by the way, here's a festival program. Come and see somebody you've never heard of before. So it's really a crusade to keep jazz hot and to keep the blues alive. And we've got so many people supporting us. If you look at the page of the people who supported us in kind rather than finance, it's very impressive. And right down to a place like Cafe Nero, who gives 250 coffee vouchers for visiting musicians. Yeah. It gives them a place to go and talk, relax. Also, amongst our free things, we have free ukulele lessons to pitch to kids. In our course, they learn to play and sing one song. Now, you can buy a proper professional uke for £60. I can imagine all these kids grabbing mum by the hand and say, take me down to Fair Deal Music, I want a ukulele. And also jitterbug dancing. Not me, because I've never danced in my life, but we do present jitterbug dance lessons. And after that, you saw some Chinese girls here today. They're the Chinese jitterbug squad, who never heard of jitterbugging until they saw it in the festival. And now they've got a regular dance group out of it. We have free photographic course as well, run by our resident photographer. It's not just music. I mean, the jitterbug dance session, you see all sorts of people, all ages dancing.
Now, I think that's one of the beautiful things, because obviously I've been aware of the festival for many years. We've met at one of the festivals previously, possibly even about 10 years ago. But I think the important thing that you said there is it gives the people an opportunity, and you're sort of letting them say stop, listen, live in the moment almost. But the fact that the Jazz Festival isn't just about jazz, it's a celebration of the arts as a whole. And I think that's what makes it so special, that someone like yourself has recognised how important Birmingham is and the significance of Birmingham and a lot of the fantastic musicians that have evolved from here. But the fact that what you're doing with the festival doesn't just showcase the different arts or established musicians, because you also make sure that you go back to grassroots as well. So it gives the up-and-coming bands, people that you know haven't necessarily been discovered via the algorithms on some of these streaming platforms. You're giving these people an opportunity to perform and let their voices and their music be heard. And is that something that you initially set out to do, or is that something that just grew from this?
Well, people that care about jazz are concerned the way it's going. To get young kids playing jazz, it's very difficult. Also, the audiences. I run 4 live nights a week, every week throughout the year. And on Broad Street, you know what Broad Street's like. It's hive of nightlife activity. We've got a blues night on Tuesday called Henry's Blues House. It's all free admission, by the way. In February or March, 8 young girls came in, typical Broad Streeters out for a giggle, bare midriffs in the freezing cold weather. They came in, back to the end of the room as far away from the music as they could get. After a little while, one of them came forward with a phone and filmed the band. A little while later, they all came to the front and started to dance, and they danced till the end of the evening. There's nothing wrong with the kids, there's nothing wrong with the music. It's just the kids of that age, 18, 20, whatever, who don't have a mother and father who've got a jazz or blues collection, they never get to hear the music. They're riveted to their phones and they're closed off from the rest of the world. We want to interrupt them, give them a nudge, say, hey, come on, listen to this. And then give another example. In the summer, we do shows every Sunday, Botanical Gardens. The family comes in, kids 3, 4, 5 years old. They've not been told not to like it yet. They will, someone will tell them, but they run down the front and they start to dance. It's a natural thing to do. Now, why can't they keep doing that?
100%, and that's the beautiful thing about obviously music, and it brings everybody together. So, Jim, thank you for joining us today, and the fact that we've had the opportunity to join forces between Rockefellas TV and obviously the Jazz Festival. Thank you for 42 fantastic years. Long may it continue. I'm looking forward to some of the events myself. So, in the meantime, a huge thank you to, once again, the legend himself, Mr. Jim Simpson. I'm Natalie Graham, here with you for Rockefellas TV.